Oh, I'm so honored to get the first. I'm so happy.
Thanks for your patience.
Thank you for all your help with Allie. I mean, I can't thank you enough. I mean, it just your support. It was just, you know what I mean. I'm just so thankful.
Oh, you're welcome. It's always just I'm happy that I could help.
Yeah. So I got a new pup, Tucker, and he was, on a play date with another dog, and we were on the trail, and they both loved each other. They were just like running on the trail, not looking, and he probably, I don't think he even had a trail walk before. So he ran right into, he acted like it. He'd never been on the trail before. He ran right into a wooden fence post. I didn't see it, but I heard it, and the next thing I know, he's crying, lifting his leg up, and so I keep some jumper joints in your go-to in my car. I keep a bunch of them. And so I called Andrea and we talked. She added Bellus Pranis 1M to it. And I give it to him 3 times a day. But I just, in the PT checked him out just to be sure, like, I want to make sure that I can, try and keep this from getting any worse. That's what I'm worried about. And so I don't have them on any kind of like, I have them on phytosynergy and stuff like that. That can be good for joint health, but I don't know if you think I should do anything else. He seems off still, but he's so hyperactive and kind of a crazy puppy that it's so subtle when you notice, it's how he turns around and stuff like that. And do you recommend I do anything else?
So do you think it's joint or do you think it's his muscle?
Well, the PT said it's possible, most likely a soft tissue injury. So they recommended doing some fitness exercises at home, which I've been doing here and there, and then swimming. But he's afraid of the water. It's like he wants to like it, but he hasn't had the proper exposure. So I can't really use swimming as it's more of like a thing I'm gonna have to work at slowly with him. But
and when you walk him, like how do you know that he's off? Like what's he doing?
Well, it's when I don't really walk him on a leash. I bring him to like fields and trails, and he jumps in the car, he jumps in the bed, and just it's the very subtle difference in his spring, because he's got pit bull, German Shepherd, lab. He jumps right up like a kangaroo, and it's very subtle, but he's off. And when he turns around, it's like he's offloading on one of his legs. Same thing when he jumps in the car, and it's hard to keep him quiet, but like I also have to. They said I could let him walk in the field, but just not to play with any other dog for a while, and that's hard too.
Yeah, for sure it would be. What's the highest potency of arnica that you have at home?
I have 10M from Allie.
Okay, I'd give him 1 single dose of 10M, just once. Okay. And then the other thing that I used to do with Della when she would injure herself is I would always wind up giving her what worked really well for her, just because her bones were growing and stuff, was kelp carb. So, but not so much from soft tissue, more for like ligament and joint if she would tweak something when she was playing, because she was a really big puppy and she was constantly hurting herself.
Okay.
So kelp carb is I would do like a 10M arnica, just a single dose of 10M arnica, I would definitely keep doing the Bellus and the jump for joints though, for sure. Because it's soft tissue, you want to make sure that there's calendula in there. That's really, really important one. Wow. And so, keep doing the jump for joints, keep doing the Bellus. I would do 1 single dose of arnica 10M. And then if you still think that that's happening, then it wouldn't hurt just to give him a single dose of kelp carb.
Okay. Any recommendation on potency?
Well, how old is he?
He just turned 1.
Just turned 1. Is he big? Is he big?
Yeah, he's like 55 pounds. I adopted him right on Thanksgiving.
Okay. Well, you could do a single dose of like just even a 200C.
Okay. Awesome. I appreciate it. Yeah, I wanted to ask you. I thought maybe you might do something.
Well, you know what else is really good that I would recommend that everybody has on hand in their bathroom is something called Trameal or Trauma Care. and it's incredible. It's a homeopathic topical gel. And when you have pretty severe like muscle trauma or soft tissue injury, it's incredible. It's really, really good for things like hematomas in their ear and things like that.
Great. Is it a cream?
You can buy it in a cream and a gel. I recommend gels. With
Okay.
hair with animals.
Thank you, Julie. I appreciate it. I don't want to take any more time. Thank you so much.
Okay, no worries.
Happy New Year.
Terry's asking if she can continue with her question. So Terry was the lady on Facebook we were talking with Julie.
With the food.
Yes, tried yeasty beast, tried leaky gut. Terry, I'm going to give you the mic if you'd like. You should be able
Beth
to.
is asking what gel that was at. It's called Trameal or Trauma Care. They're both really good.
Hello.
Hey.
Hi.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, so yes, our allergy issue.
Yeah.
It's been going on since she was about 6 months. She gets really inflamed ears, itchy armpits. We did the 7 weeks of Pure Rabbit. It kind of seemed to get better, but not totally solved. We did a very short course of Venectal P before Christmas just to give her a break from the itching. Our holistic vet had us on some traditional Chinese medicine herbs and some probiotics. And in all of this time, we've done 2 yeasty beasts, and we are now in the middle of leaky gut. But she's now having a really bad flare, and I can't for the life of me figure it out.
And is this the first time she's been on raw? Because when
she's been on raw since 8 weeks when we brought her home.
Okay, and she's how old now?
She's just turned a year on January 2nd.
Okay. Just when you said, have you ever seen a dog not do well with raw? I was just wondering if that was new for her or something.
No.
Okay. Yeah, it's a tough one, and it's mostly her ears and under her armpits.
Her front armpit.
What is she?
She's a Catahoula leopard.
Okay. Aww. Have you done a Nutri-Scan test with Jean Dodds?
We have not.
That's what I would probably do, so that you're not just throwing darts, like wondering, is it rabbit? Is she good on rabbit? Is she not good on rabbit? And I'm going to say something to you, and don't take this the wrong way, because I get it. Like I have had to do that with my horses and things like that, where you yourself and the animal needs a bit of a break of either extreme itching or whatever is traumatizing them,
Mm-hmm.
But don't be surprised if she does get worse a little bit, because anytime you use a steroid, you're going to get a rebound, like almost always. So when you're on the steroid, it's pushing it down, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you're getting some relief. Your dog's getting some relief, but then as soon as that steroid comes off, then the disease comes forward again, right? So you get it almost like a rebound effect till it can go back into the center again. So it almost like goes forward even worse than it was, and then it'll come back to center again.
Okay.
So don't be surprised that it is doing that, because that's very, very, very common for to happen. When she was on Venectal P, did it help?
Yes.
Have you ever put her on just an antihistamine?
We originally tried some Benadryl, and I think there was another one. I want to say maybe Claritin. Before we tried that, it didn't touch it at all. She just itched right through it.
She did, eh?
Yeah.
Okay, because that's unfortunate, because sometimes if they do well on Venectal P, if it's if it's the combination of prednisone and the antihistamine, because that's what Benecol P is,
Mhm.
then sometimes when you use quercetin,
Right.
quercetin can be very, very helpful if it's a
Okay.
histamine reaction.
Okay.
If the dog has high histamine. So if it really is a real allergy, then sometimes quercetin can be very helpful to bring the histamine response down.
Okay.
And I always recommend seeing a homeopath, right, with dogs without like real allergies and stuff.
Mhm.
But and the only reason that I said using Phytosflora, how old was she when she started getting itchy?
About 6 months was the first flare.
And how did you spay her?
No,
So she's intact?
she's intact.
Intact, okay. 6
Yeah.
months. I wonder if it was hormonal. Was it around, or it is hormonal? Was it around her first heat?
Yep, sure was.
Mhm. Yeah, that can happen. And how about vaccines? Like, was it around a vaccine or anything?
No, she had her original vaccines with the breeder.
Yeah.
And then I think we had done a half round sometime after 14 weeks, but we didn't do it all because we titered for, it was parvo and 2 other ones. And I'm sorry, I can't remember the other
Okay.
2.
Yeah.
But because she was having a flare, we stopped. We didn't do anything else.
Okay, that's good. That's good. Well, I would, it doesn't hurt to do the Nutri-Scan. That's the first thing I would do.
Okay.
And then I would definitely use Phytosflora with her.
Just add that in along with the leaky gut stuff.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
Sure. And then I would also do some quercetin.
Okay.
But do the test first, so then
Okay.
you're gonna see what's what
Okay.
and what she's reacted to and what she hasn't reacted. And then I would use that strict diet. Like if Dr. Dodds comes back and says, she's allergic to rabbit, but she's not allergic to emu, or she's not allergic, then I would do a really, really solid 6 weeks of whatever for sure she's not reactive to.
Okay. Okay. And is Jean Dodds in Canada?
She's in the United States.
She's
Where
in the US.
But you can.
I'm in Southern Ontario.
Yeah, you can send it. You can
Okay.
do it yourself actually. So you
Oh,
can just
okay.
go on and you can do a Nutri-Scan test. They send you a thing, and your dog chews on a piece of material, and then you mail it off to them.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay, great. That's wonderful.
I'll add the link in this chat for you, Terry.
Yeah,
Oh, lovely. Thank you so
she's
much.
amazing. She's amazing, and then it'll give you, not to say that your dog has to stay on that forever, but
Right.
doing like doing the supportive therapies with them,
Yeah.
along with knowing what to keep her reactivity down, then
Mhm.
eventually hopefully she won't be, if you really heal her gut, she won't be
Mhm.
allergic then to
Mhm.
other things that are reactive to other things that she's reactive to. She'll be able to grow,
Right, right,
especially being so young.
right, right, right. Yes. I was hoping starting with Ross so young, I wouldn't run into this.
Well, that's why I'm telling you Phytosflora, because
Yes.
that's why I asked you how young she was,
Yeah.
because normally when they get them that young, when they're not over vaccinated and they haven't been spayed, they've been born with a really poor microbiome.
Right. Okay. I've
Right.
read about that. Yes.
Yeah. So the mama didn't pass off enough. She probably had an unhealthy gut,
Right.
and then she passed that on to the puppies.
Right. Right. Got it. Oh, this is fantastic. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Bye, Terry.
Bye-bye.
Okay, let's see who else. Allison. Hey, Allison, I'm going to give you the mic. I'm going to go 1 for 1 for Facebook, Julie. Allison, is your
Okay.
mic?
Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes.
Yes,
Hi.
I can hear you.
Hi. So I'm not sure which question. I've put many out there. Which one are we looking at?
Let's start with the first one.
Okay, so one of my questions was, well, basically, let me just ask this. Can you give too many supplements? Because I do digestive enzymes, I do healthy gut, I do ubiquinol, CBD oil, liver tonic, it just goes on and on. And I'm
Yep.
wondering if I asked about the goat's milk because I didn't know if that would be too many probiotics and whatnot.
Hmm. You can definitely do too many supplements, I think. That's my personal opinion. The only time that I would say that I don't think there are too many is if you have a really compromised animal. So if you have something with cancer or you have a geriatric animal that needs a lot of support, then sometimes you have to use a lot of different things to keep them balanced, right? To keep them in homeostasis. So it really depends if this animal is, if you're doing it to prevent, then I always like it when you alternate, right? So when you alternate things,
Right.
or you systematically support them. So sometimes you're supporting the liver, then you're going to the gut, then you're going to the lungs, then you're going to the heart, then you're going to, so you move through the systems of the body.
So he's a 8-year-old Cavalier who has Chiari malformation, has been on pain medication for probably 5 years now. He gets pregabalin at this point, and he's doing pretty well with that. He also has a heart murmur. It's mild. We go back to the cardiologist in about a week and a half for another echo to see how that's doing.
Okay.
But and he is very sensitive in what he can tolerate, which is why I have had great success, I think, with the healthy gut and digestive enzymes. He's on raw. He can't tolerate high fat raw. So he's basically, rabbit is his primary protein, but I do quail eggs. I mix in beef sometimes. I mix in turkey sometimes, but rabbit is very prevalent in his diet.
That's good. Do you know if it's a whole prey rabbit? Like, did they use the whole rabbit?
I believe so. It's a brand called Small Batch. It's in the United States. It's all organic. I'd have to look to see. I know that there's a lot of the rabbit. It's more than just a muscle meat or whatever.
Yeah.
But I believe it's a good product. And I do actually, there's a couple of other brands that I use. I tried, Answers, of course, that's all changed anyway, but he did not do well with Answers.
Okay.
And I think it was the fat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
do you use Gut Soothe with him?
Gut Soothe.
So you're saying digestive enzymes and healthy gut. So our healthy gut is our digestive enzyme.
Yes, that's what I meant. Yes.
Okay. And then do you use Gut Soothe with him?
Oh, well, you're asking me that, and I'm thinking, isn't that what that is? Let me just look in the
Gut Soothe is it's brown.
So yes, it's Gut Soothe
Okay,
and healthy gut every day, and I break it into 2 doses. He gets medication 3 times a day.
Okay.
I split those doses to 2 or 3 meals.
Okay. So I don't think that's too much. And the reason is like, I'm just going to use like either animals that were at my clinic or the rescue animals that I deal with here. If we have a rescue animal that has to stay on any kind of an NSAID or pain medication or anything, any kind of a steroid or anything like that, if they have to stay on it, or we can't wean them off completely, like they're down as low as they can possibly go, or when they first get here and they're on them, Gut Soothe is really, really important. It helps the mucosal lining of everything, like the lungs and the stomach and the intestine. What I would suggest is liver tonic. I would definitely put any animal that has any kind of heart problems or on any kind of pain medication. I would definitely be using liver tonic because it helps to support the kidneys, the pancreas, which obviously he's having some issues with if he's sensitive to fat. and kidneys, liver, and pancreas. So that would be something that I would keep him on as
Okay,
well.
so just endlessly keep him on the gut soothe and the liver tonic.
Yeah,
That's
I mean,
really helpful to hear.
he's 8 years old. You know, hopefully he's gonna live till he's, you know, a ripe old age. But
Yeah.
when you can't get off of a drug,
Yeah.
then you have something in homeopathy we call an obstacle to cure, meaning you have to balance. Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. So
Mhm.
you've got this drug on board. So what are you going to do? What's in your power? What's in your toolbox to mitigate the side effects of that drug? And
Yeah.
whatever that is, you should be using it.
Okay, I really appreciate that. I would love to take him off the Pablin, but I'm not gonna do
No,
that
I
if he's gonna be in pain. So
No. So I mean, if you're comfortable doing that, and you know that you know what's the most important is quality of life, it is amazing. It's amazing how animals and people can mitigate the side effects of some drugs that are pretty heavy duty
yeah.
with holistic therapies, like with something like gut soothe, with liver tonic and milk thistles, and you know, and all of the, you know, chelation therapies. Like in our phytophthora we have something called fulvic and humic acid, and that really helps to pull out heavy metals out of the body.
I
So
do actually have phytophthora. He got that before he had his dental, which meant 14 teeth were removed.
yeah,
So I
doesn't
can
hurt
rotate
to-
that.
yeah, I was just gonna say, it doesn't hurt to rotate it too, because it's very, very helpful to pull out anything like a heavy metal or you know, toxins out of the out of out of the system. If you're having to, like, even taking 14 teeth out, there's a ton of bacteria and toxins with removing 14 teeth.
Yeah.
A ton.
Yeah. So one more question, tracheal collapse.
Yeah.
He has a cough that doesn't produce anything. He does
Yeah.
it 2 or 3 times a day.
Yeah.
The cardiologist said he thinks it's a tracheal collapse. Is there anything I can do for that? He doesn't wear a collar or anything like that.
Yeah, there's a couple of things. One thing that you're doing already that's amazing is gut soothe, because
Okay.
N-acetylglucosamine really, really helps the trachea, larynx, anything like that. And there's lots of N-acetylglucosamine in gut soothe. The other thing that's helpful is, you know, if you raise their bowls, obviously don't give them anything super crunchy that it can irritate when he's swallowing. But what actually does help is there's something called our jump for joints.
I have that too. Okay. I'll
It
put him back on
really-
that.
it really does help. The root of grab in that is pretty crazy with collapsing tracheas.
Awesome.
Very helpful.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate all your help.
You're welcome.
Have a good night. Stay safe.
You too.
All right, Linda's got a question on Facebook. Julie, and this is going to piggyback off of what you were just talking about with Phytos. My dog has a skin disease that is autoimmune. Just got him off prednisone and he is on a Topica now. Which of your products are best for modulating his immune system? He also has pancreatitis and proteinuria, protein in his urine.
Yeah. Huh. And what did they got him? They had him on Atopica, and now they have him on what?
He was on prednisone and now he's on a Topica.
Oof. How old is this dog? Is it really old?
Linda, if you're here, would you mind letting us know how old your guy is?
And so what's your question? What can she do to what?
Modulate the immune system.
Well, we have to modulate the immune system, but we also have to try, and we were just talking about mitigating the side effects of the drugs, right? So if you've tried everything else and your pup has to be on Atopica, then a big one is is rotating through Gut Soothe and Phytosflora, those two. Phytosflora really has lots of immune modulation. It's got the folic and humic acid to try to help chelate the toxins from the drugs that he's on right now. But what's really important with that is liver tonic. It's hugely important with prednisone, hugely important with all of the issues that your dog's having with his kidneys or what else did she said he had polyuria. What else?
Yeah, Julie, this little beast is 14.
14.
Linda just wrote back and just got off prednisone. He's on Atopica. He has pancreatitis and proteinuria.
Proteinuria, yeah.
Protein in his
So,
urine.
yeah. So we want to make sure that you're really supporting his kidneys and his liver, and Atopica and prednisone are hard on both of those. So I would be doing like double dosing liver tonic, because liver tonic is also really good for pancreas stuff. And Gut Soothe definitely helps with that. So I would be doing liver tonic, Gut Soothe, and liver tonic, Gut Soothe, and Phytosflora. And the other thing that I would do is I would actually see about putting him on some Nux vomica and arnica. So even if she tried giving him some go-to and even just a 30C Nux vomica, and do those two things along with everything that I just said, just do it for a week, just do it twice a day for a week, and see if it makes a difference. Both of those will help with the sort of chronic inflammation with the chronic pancreatitis, and Nux vomica will really help detox the effects of the drugs.
Thanks, Julie. All right, Beth, I'm going to give you the mic if you feel comfortable chatting with us. You're up next. So we're
She's
gonna.
muted.
I'm here.
Hi.
Hi.
Well, go ahead and ask your question if you don't mind.
Okay. My dog tore her cruise shit. I'm gonna give you a short history. She tore her cruise shit. They put her on carprofen for 7 days. Her
Yep.
liver values went up. They were up slightly, like 135 when she tore her cruise shit. And then they put her on
Cardigan injections?
Rimadyl
Oh, Rimadyl. Ooh.
or carprofen. So then her ALT level was the only liver level that went up. And then they did a biopsy and ultrasound and biopsy and came up with chronic active hepatitis.
Mhm.
So then they put her on prednisone, which I did not like. And then Krista from Pug and Hound and watching you told me to try the liver tonic, which I did. So I weaned her off the prednisone. I can't remember how many weeks she was on it. Could have been a couple months to finally get her weaned off the prednisone. And then I still have her on liver tonic. I also did a detox from Dr. Dodd's with the fish and the potatoes. And, I started giving her dark leafy greens. But now her ALT levels are perfectly normal a month ago. And I still have her on liver tonic. She's an 11-year-old border terrier. And I was wondering if I should keep her on that. I also use Phytosflora. I go back and forth with Gut Smooth and Phytosflora.
Okay. Yes, you should.
Okay.
You should keep her on it.
I also have a 15-year-old border terrier that had a lot of sludge in his or gallbladder before. No mucocele or anything, but I have him on it too.
That's good. What did they do for your dog's cruciate ligament?
I did nothing. I decided not to do surgery.
Okay.
Because
And
she's 11.
How
So
is she?
I'm sorry.
How's she doing? How's her leg doing?
I live in Northern Illinois, so it's cold, and with a lot of exercise, I do have jump for joints. I've been giving her that too,
Okay, good. Like how often?
once a day.
Did you do it more often initially?
I think I was giving it to her twice a day and then realized it just said once a day.
Okay. You can give it to her twice a day ongoing. And then if
Okay.
you see her worse, you can give it to her up to 4 times a day.
Okay.
Jump for joints is when I had my clinic, that's how I came up with jump for joints, was for torn cruciate ligaments. So you can definitely give that to her as needed. If you do it twice a day or 3 times a day for like maybe a week or 2 weeks, and if you see if it helps, then you can use it as needed. You can go down to twice a day. And if she maintains on twice a day, or if she goes out and she runs around, or it's snowy or it's cold and she's a little more sore, then you can give it to her more often.
Okay. Like more often.
Like you can give it to her 3 or 4 times a day if she needs
Oh,
it.
wow.
If
Okay.
she's doing well on it, you can give it to her that often.
Okay.
And yeah, and when it comes to the liver tonic, it's the same thing. You can give it, it's so safe. You can give it easily 2 times a day. And if you're concerned, you can give it 3 times a day.
Yeah, I give it. So how often would you have her liver levels checked? Like her ALT was the only liver level that was ever elevated.
Yeah, and now it's normal.
Everything's normal. Yeah.
Good.
And my vet totally is blown away. She's like, I'm really surprised.
I don't think, I mean, I shouldn't say never, never, because sometimes, some dogs are on things that are pretty heavy duty, but it's a rare case that we can't get that animals' liver values don't become more normalized on that.
Well, they really shot up when she went on the prednisone. Her liver levels did.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm really glad that you started that, because it would definitely help, even with like getting them down. It also helps with worrying and sclerosis and all of that stuff, right?
Yeah. Right.
So we're even being more proactive than just being super focused on getting the values down.
Mhm.
We're also looking at the integrity of your dog's liver.
So she has lost a couple pounds since all this started.
Yeah, I can imagine.
So, but she's maintaining 13 pounds right now. So,
Well, if you're concerned about that, one of my favorite things for older dogs, I mean, I take it 2 to 3 times a day myself, is phytosynergy.
okay.
It is so amazing when it comes to any dogs that are dogs, cats, horses, people that have any kind of uh, sort of chronic disease or compromised in any way, because a lot of times when animals or people are compromised within their gut or an organ, or with Lyme disease or cancer, what is very hard is the bioavailability. It's hard for them to get their nutrients out of even just really good food. And the great thing about phytosynergy is that it is like 100% bioavailable, and it actually absorbs in the mucous membranes. It doesn't even have to be digested. So it's something that's really, really helpful for any dogs or cats or people that have.
Yeah, she is
kind of
on small batch, and I
chronic
do
issue
give her
all.
the kefir goat milk, because it has more calories in it.
Yeah.
So, all right.
Okay.
Thank you so much. I love your products, and I swear it's your liver tonic and getting her off the prednisone. But I think the liver tonic really, really helped her. Thank you.
Well, thank you for having the confidence too to take her off the drug, because sometimes, that you just have the wherewithal to go, we got to get her off it.
Oh yeah, my vet wanted to keep her on it maintenance, and I was like, oh no, I can't do that.
No.
So, okay.
No. Okay.
God
Thanks,
bless
Beth.
you. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you both.
Okay. Christy, hey, let's see here. Christy, you got the mic, and then I'm going to flip over to Facebook and grab some questions from there. Christy-
Awesome. Thank
Oh,
you.
hey.
So my 12-year-old Havanese, Cocoella, has multiple health issues. And I have two questions. One is a follow-up to the prednisone, but for phytosynergy, she just loves it, and it seems to have done such great things to her. She actually, I give it to her 3 times a day in 3 of her meals, and in her 4th meal, she won't eat it unless I sprinkle a little on it. So she loves it. So my question is, though, she does really poorly with oils, because she also has chronic pancreatitis. So I'm wondering if phytosynergy is enough, or if I still have to try to figure out a way to get her some kind of krill oil or something.
What's her issues?
She has IBD, EPI, pancreatitis. Dr. Roman diagnosed her with Pleckner syndrome.
Oh yeah. Okay.
And I swear I'm probably forgetting some, but those are the
And she's how old?
12. She just
12.
turned 12, and she gets seizures. It's a gut brain reaction.
Yeah.
But I mean, she's been dealing with this since she was 4.5. And since I started going to Dr. Roman in 2017, and there's been a huge change, like with the fecal transplants and ozone therapy. And then when we added in your products, I mean, she's doing better, knock wood, than she's done in a really long time.
Yeah. So I don't know. Is Peter still on here?
Peter's my buddy.
Oh, is he? Okay.
Yes.
So if she was diagnosed with Pleckner syndrome, I would be serious. Is she spayed?
Yes.
I would seriously think of Peter can give you her contact, Andrea Ring. Putting her on the spay, homeopathic spay protocol, the canine.
Okay.
It really, really helps with that.
Okay.
Really helps. And you can even do homeopathic cortisone, right? Which is completely inert. It's not, there's no side effects to it whatsoever. So I've worked with a few animals that have had that, including my cat. And it's the spay protocol has been phenomenal with it.
Okay.
Like really phenomenal. Now, when it comes to oil, you have to be careful. Like you do really have to be careful. And you can get a test. Can you write down Crystal's information stuff? And I can send her, you're in the US, right? If you're seeing Dr. Roman?
Yes.
Okay. There's a test that you can do to check that you can actually check her omegas.
Okay.
So rather than jump on something and put her on something that she doesn't need, you can actually check and see if she needs more DHA or she needs more EPA. Like it's a really simple test that you can do.
Awesome.
And I can not a lot of vets do it, not even a lot of vets know about it actually, and it's in the US. I'm trying to get it into Canada. I'm trying to get a couple vets to actually work with it in Canada. But do you see Dr. Roman? Like, is that who you go to see?
Yep. So Coco sees Dr. Roman, but we also see an internal medicine specialist at the teaching hospital in Boston.
Okay.
So and they are sort of on the same page with everything we're doing, except, and this goes to, you mentioned homeopathic cortisol. Coco is still on prednisone. She's been on it for a very long time.
Yep.
She's starting to have hind end weakness and shaky legs, back legs, and her internal medicine specialist really feels that has to do with the prednisone.
Yep.
We cut the dose and she's kind of evened out now, but I'm wondering if you have any thoughts about, can I get her off of prednisone? Margot says we give prednisone to deal with the bad cortisol, as a cortisol replacement, and the internal medicine specialist says we give it for inflammation. They both agree on the dose, but they have different reasons. So would you have any thoughts about if there might be a way to do that?
Yeah, I mean, you would have to definitely be working with both of the vets, right? Or
Yeah.
one of the vets to do that. But I would honestly, if you're gonna do that, like if you feel you're in that space that I was taught, so interesting.
Yeah.
There's 3 people now, right? I have a lot of like the rescue animals that I have here are all, on their way to being euthanized, and before they come, like that's the reason that they're here. So some of them I've been able to take off drugs completely. Some of them have to stay on lower doses of stuff.
Mhm.
And you can try and help balance out the side effects of the pred as well. But one thing I can tell you that has been in my experience is you can put them on when they're on constitutional or really good homeopathic care. You would not believe how much less pred most of the time that they can be on.
Okay.
And I'll have had animals in my practice where people are fighting with me saying that these animals aren't on anything that is even therapeutic, like they're not even on a therapeutic dose.
Mhm.
But I think all steroids are therapeutic, even if it's the teensiest, like almost homeopathic amount of it.
Yep.
And it's like what you do is you put them on homeopathy and like things that are I think that's probably why your dog likes the phytosynergy so much, because phytosynergy is really cellular.
Mhm.
It goes to whatever cell it's needed in the most. It's very almost homeopathic. They're smaller than a red blood cell, right? So there's like 250 billion of these little tiny phytoplankton cells that are feeding your dog's body, and it doesn't even have to digest it. So when you're doing homeopathy, you can do the homeopathy, and then you can start to decrease the with your vet if you want, if they think they agree. You start to decrease the pred, but at the same time, you continue to tweak the remedies
Okay.
based on the symptoms that you're seeing.
Okay.
So if you start to decrease the pred and some symptomatology comes up, then you deal with that symptomatology with the homeopathics instead of increasing the pred again. But you're doing it so small. It's almost like when they've been on it this long, you just almost like shave the pill, right? Like you're taking off minuscule amounts. And sometimes over the course of a year, the animal can be off 3/4 of their pred, but they've come off it so slowly, and you've replaced it by mimicking what they need through a homeopathic remedy. It takes a lot of work, and it takes a lot of patience and paying attention.
Yep.
But if you have a good team, which it sounds like you do, I can honestly say that, if you could get some help with Andrea, who Peter uses, I really think she could help you.
Yeah, I did do a consult with her.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, I started the protocol and then became very overwhelmed because I got sick. So I will definitely reconnect with her and update the protocol and commit to really leaning into homeopathy. She does so well with your jump for joints and your go-to. Your go-to is one of the things that helps stop her seizures.
Mhm.
just without any other medication. So thank you
Yeah.
for everything you do.
Oh, you're welcome. And just like I said, you just really gotta take her call, right? Like take her call, like do like match her vitality. So if you come down a little bit more and then you just add something and then you bring it down a little bit more and then you add something till you can find that sweet spot where the pred's not affecting her in a negative way. It's actually supporting her.
Okay. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Chrissy.
Thanks, Steph.
Okay, Julie, I've got one here from Facebook. A rescued cavalier. We've seemed to conquer yeast and other issues. Now we're starting to deal with regurgitation, no vomiting. She's been on Gut Soothe, Phytospora, famotidine, etc. Tried gently cooking instead of raw, no change. Now we're trying the Herb Smith, Slippery Elm, and Gastro Care. We also started Doggy Biome, Gut Restore. It's been almost 2 years. Any suggestions? We also did a NutriScan and she showed no allergies.
And she's getting reflux.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, dogs like this or animals like this, I really, like I said, I wish I had 100 different homeopaths that I could refer to. But I honestly can say that I really think that that working with a really good homeopath, you could slow that down exponentially, if not get rid of it altogether.
So I will
You know,
put,
but I have a dog that has actually strictures. So he gets acid, like an acid reflux. And when he gets it, it's so horrible and so bad. And I have a combination homeopathic remedy that I use with him. And I have to keep him on it for, maybe 5 to 7 days. And then I always have it on hand. So the second that I know that he's starting to do it, like the second I see, like he's really good, thank God, touch wood now, but he can get it if he gets into something, like if he goes down to the barn and he eats, like if we're cleaning out the chicken coop, we take the chicken stuff from the chicken coop, which is manure, chicken manure and things from the chicken coop, but it's also got like a ton of chicken feed in it, right? Like, because I free choice feed my chickens, they've got more food than they know what to do with. So there's so much that comes out and goes into the tractor bin and then goes down to the manure pile, and he'll go down and he'll eat the chicken food, and it's evil for him. He gets the worst reflux when he eats that. So I have this homeopathic combination that works incredibly well for him. And I give him that, and I give him CBD oil just to calm him down because he gets really anxious. And he's doing amazing on it. He's doing really well. So I would say if you've done all of those things, you've done all the things that you've just said, I would definitely reach out to a really good homeopath. And Andrea's probably one of the best ones that I know. So
yeah, she's pretty awesome. I'm gonna link her website for everyone. It's www.andrearing.ca. And let me move on to the next question. Hey, Darlene, funny you just asked. Your question is next. Darlene, I'm going to give you the mic. If you feel comfortable asking Julie, please do.
Okay. Okay. Hello.
hi.
So my first question, my puppers like to scratch her ears like any other dog, and then she'll lazily start scratching her chin and the top of her head. And I noticed that she'll graze her eye, and she's had scratches on her eye. and the vet gave antibiotic drops, which really cleared it up. Is there anything I could do at home to put in her eyes if I see the scratches again? I just don't want to have to take her to the vet every time and then have them do that
Eye. So
test.
how is she scratching her eye? What is she doing?
When she
She's
scratches her ears,
Okay.
she'll go like really hard on her ears, and then kind of like an afterthought, she'll kind of scratch her chin, the top of her head, and then her paw will graze her eye.
Her eye.
So that's how she's getting them.
Okay. And how often is she scratching her ears and her head?
Not often.
Not that often. Okay.
No.
It's not a big deal. Okay. You have to be really careful with eye scratches because they can turn into corneal ulcers, which are really, really hard to treat if you don't catch them early enough. Sometimes, people swear by colloidal silver for like colloidal silver spray for eyes. There's something called euphrasia eye drops. Those are really amazing as well. But if you the first thing that you should do, like, especially now, I don't know whether your vet's seeing people easily, but I've been hearing that, like, to get into a vet right now with COVID and stuff, it's really hard again. Like it's a couple, at least sometimes a week wait. So what I would suggest you do is that the second you think that she could have possibly scratched her eye, even until you can get into the vet, start giving her go-to. Like we have a homeopathic remedy called go-to, and I would give it to her every hour for 3 doses, and then every 4 to 6 hours until you can actually go in and see the vet. Like if she starts to squint or something like that, or even if you think that she has, so let's say she's itching and she turns around, she looks at you and she's squinting her eye because she has scratched her eye. Start giving her that remedy right away. And then sometimes, by the time you actually get her to the clinic, you won't have to give her anything. You won't have to give her antibiotics. Or maybe sometimes you don't even have to take her to the clinic because she's not squinting or tearing anymore. But, corneal ulcers are something that you don't want to fool around with. Like you definitely want to have them seen.
Right. So I have been giving her go-to, and she hasn't been squinting, and there hasn't been any discharge from the eye. It's
Okay.
just when I look at the eye, I can tell there's a scratch there.
Oh,
So then I do the go-to, and I give that to her. And I'm just finishing up the antibiotic drops I had from the vet from the last time.
okay. So she's on antibiotics still.
No, not anymore. But I
Okay.
do have some that's left over. So when I notice that she's got the scratch on her eye, I'll give her a drop for a couple of days along with the go-to, and it clears it up.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, there's lots of really good homeopathic remedies for that as well, like euphrasia, kelp carb, pepper sulf, silica. There's lots of good remedies that you can have on hand to give her as well as soon as you see that. But if you ever start to see something cloudy, like if it looks cloudy or bulgy, you really should take her in and you're sure it's just antibiotics that you're putting in her eye. It's definitely not a steroid or anything, right?
Oh no, it's antibiotic.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, it's eyes are delicate things. They can get out of hand really fast. But hopefully, things like if there's a scar, like you might want to, if you can still see that there's a scratch there. I'm surprised that she's not squinting or tearing. Are you sure do you think it's a scar? Do you think it's scarred now?
No, I don't think so. Because her eyes were clear after the antibiotic drops and the other things we were putting in.
Yeah.
But just every now and then I can like the way the light reflects her eye, I'm like, oh, there's just like a little bit of a mark, but she's not squinting. There's no eye discharge.
Yeah.
So
that's why I'm not rushing back to the vet, because it
Yeah.
is clearing up.
Yeah, because there's homeopathic remedies called thiocyanium. That's really good. Silica is really good to try and to get that to fully heal. Calendula is a good one to fully heal it. But for me, if it was if that was my dog and she routinely did that, I would find a combination homeopathic remedy. I would make sure that I had, the correct drops from your veterinarian, and I would be super prepared, right? Like for, like I said, either colloidal silver or euphrasia eye drops, so that it doesn't get really bad.
Okay.
Because if it does get really bad, you really do have to take her in, or she could, it could be very detrimental to her.
Oh no, I know that.
Mhm.
Because when I do give her the drops, if it doesn't start to clear up within a day, then I would be
Yeah.
taking her to the vet.
Yeah. So, like I said, homeopathic remedies, like the go-to is really good. Have you ever used our liver or our leaky gut?
Yes, and that was part of my other question. We did
Okay.
we did the leaky gut protocol when I first got her, and I've had
Yeah.
her for 7 months. So we did that we started that in June or July.
Yeah.
And so we're done all of that. She's from Jamaica, and this is her first winter. So
Mhm.
I've noticed that with the colder weather, she will lose a little bit of weight, and it's noticeable because she is a lean dog. But when we had the warmer spell a couple weeks ago, or just recently, she put the weight back on.
Oh,
So I'm
interesting.
wondering, is there something that I can add to her diet when it's cold out so that she can maintain the weight? She gets raw fed beef, chicken, and turkey on
Okay.
a rotational basis.
Okay. Well, you could definitely be adding, how old is she?
She's about 5.5 years old.
Okay. You could definitely be adding, something that's got a bit more fat to it when it's cold out, like just when it's cold out, like lamb, or uh, something that has a higher fat content, like raw goat milk or kefir. Fats are really, really good. Like animal fats for
Mhm.
them when it's cold out is very good. What is she? What kind of dog is she?
She's a pot cake.
Oh, is she?
Yeah.
Oh, I helped out with in the Bahamas with they did a massive, massive spay and neuter for pot cakes. And I sent them all protocols, all the homeopathic protocols for post spay and shock and all that kind of stuff, because a lot of them were trapped and stuff.
Yeah. She
Oh,
does get the raw goat's milk. I give that to her about twice a week,
okay.
and it's frozen. So I put in ice cube trays, and she gets about 2 or 3 times a week.
Okay. So when it's cold and you're trying to keep weight on her, like make sure that she's wearing a coat when she goes outside, so that
Oh
she's
yeah,
not
she's got
freezing.
that for sure.
Yeah. And bone broth, anything warm, like bone broth, even warm her food up. Like don't take her food right out of the fridge and feed her. When it's really cold out and you're thinking that she's starting to lose weight, definitely give her food at room temperature. Don't give it to her when it's cold, because it actually takes calories to heat the food up
Right.
when they eat. So you want to, if you're concerned about her losing weight, you should on cold days make sure that the food is at least at room temperature. You could even pour some warm bone broth over the top of it, just to bring the temperature up a bit.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, fattier meats. Phytosynergy is really, really good for metabolism, to try and to try and balance metabolism. If they're overweight, it helps them actually lose some weight. If they're underweight, it'll actually help to get them to gain some weight.
Yeah, because I just started her on that this past week.
Okay.
Part of her rotation. So
Oh, good.
yeah.
Aw.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're very welcome. Oh, that's what I was going to say though. Where are you?
In Ontario.
You're in Ontario. You can, I don't know, is Suzanne still on? Do you know
She was on
Suzanne?
Facebook. I'm not positive.
Okay. But you could reach out to Adored Beast and just tell them that you had a thing with me, and that that I said it was okay for you to purchase Gut Seal on its own. So Gut Seal is the little homeopathic remedy that's in leaky gut. And if you notice that her eye's getting weird, or if you're worried about her eye, keep her on the go-to and add Gut Seal to it, because Gut Seal's got something called thiocyaninium, it's got calendula, it's got collagen in it, so it really helps repair things fast. That's why it's in the protocol, is to repair the gut lining.
Oh,
But it
perfect.
repairs all kinds of things like eardrums and eyes and things.
Oh, Lori's
thank
on.
you so much.
Lori's
welcome.
on. She said I could take care of that tomorrow for you, Darlene.
All right.
So email us questions@adoredbeast.com. You know how to get a hold of us.
Yep.
But for sure, if something happens and it looks really bad, you have to take her into the vets, right?
Oh yeah, no, for sure
Yeah.
I would. Yeah.
Okay.
Awesome.
All right.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Okay, we got time for a couple more. Julie, really quick. This gentleman had to take off, but his dog's getting an MRI tomorrow to
Yeah.
check for IVDD. She has EBD. I'm scared to death of her going under anesthetic. Can you give a couple of suggestions for aftercare?
What did you say she's got?
IBD, and she's going for an MRI to check for IVDD.
Okay. After surgery, like go-to is amazing.
Yeah.
Especially if you're worried about her going under a general. Homeopathic remedies like phosphorus and nux vomica are really good. Post-surgical remedies as well. And, just making sure that she's getting lots of fluids, bone broths, raw milk to flush her system, to flush her kidneys and her liver from the anesthetic. And go-to is really good because it has aconite in it, so it helps with the sort of the emotional component of going for animals going under a general, because it can be quite emotional, especially when they wake up.
Thank you, Julie. Excuse me. Reba's mom, are you still here with us? No. Lauren, are you still here with us? Yes, you are. Lauren, if you feel comfortable, I just gave you the mic. If you'd like to ask your question, or I can ask it for you.
Hey.
Hey.
Okay, so my buddy, he is a Beagle mix, and he is now 11 years old. He was a feral puppy. So yeah, most people don't believe me, but he was born wild. And I caught him after 3 years of chasing him down.
Oh my goodness.
So anyway, when I first got him, he never wanted to eat puppy food, and I was 17 years old. So, I knew nothing of raw then. And I worked for a traditional vet. So I tried to give him kibble, canned food. He never would eat well for me. He would bring me birds and rabbits and things like that. And I'm like, seriously, buddy. But that's what he needed. And so all these years I struggled with him with digestive issues. So like random vomiting, diarrhea, not eating. That has been the major thing for pretty much his whole life, has been his appetite. So finally I found out a about a local integrative vet I took him to after the pandemic started, which kind of stunk because I never got to go in with him, and he did acupuncture and all that. Nothing ever helped. So he tried different diets, home cooked, and finally he just stopped eating. I mean, he just completely stopped eating and really lost a bunch of weight. This was the year before last, so 2020. So I found out about animal biome last year, did a test. He wasn't that severely imbalanced, but I went ahead and did the fecal transplant capsules with him. He's done it 3 times. His last test in August was pretty severely balanced, so he got worse. So after talking to Animal Biome, they had suggested I added a digestive enzyme. So I added Healthy Gut. So he's been on that. And just to kind of give him a break, they said, because we had been doing these fecal transplant capsules, he started eating raw last spring. So he had never been on raw. So there was that major change. And finally, he did get to eating raw pretty well. So when he was on those capsules, he was eating good. His energy was good, and it's kind of gotten better each time. But anyway, someone suggested to me about the leaky gut protocol. So I thought, okay, maybe I need to give that a try before I do the fecal transplant capsules again, because this would be his 4th time doing them. So he's on the leaky gut protocol. He's been on it now for 2 weeks. And now his appetite is getting back to where he doesn't want to eat. His energy levels dropping. He just had recent blood work done. He's normal. So that was a blessing. And that's pretty much, I mean, it's just been this digestive issue thing, but it's very scary because I saw what happened to him when he just completely stopped eating everything, but cooked chicken breast. That's all he would eat, barely.
Well, so when he's on the pills, he does better, but when they test him, he's worse. Is that what you just said to me?
Yeah. So the first 2, so we've done it 3 times. So he's been tested twice because, no, wait, that's not right. So he was tested, then I did the pill, the capsules, and then he was tested again, and then we did the capsules. So however many, it was all throughout last year we were doing it. But this last time in August, so he went from a moderate imbalance to a severe imbalance after doing those capsules twice. Yeah, so the first 2 tests were pretty steady. So they were both moderate. And then we were still trying to make adjustments because when he did his 30 days of the capsules, his appetite would go back to being poor. It's kind of
when he was finished the capsules.
Yeah. So then he'd resort back to the old buddy of, I don't want to eat this food. And when he was on the capsules, he did well. But I just wanted to see if the leaky gut protocol was another option to kind of bring this thing full circle, if that makes sense. Instead of just using the animal biome, even though he may need more of the fecal transplant capsules. I just wanted to cover my bases if there's a leaky gut thing going on too.
Yeah. But now that he's on leaky gut protocol, he doesn't want to eat as much again.
No, it's only been 2 weeks. Yeah, he doesn't want. Last night, it was a real struggle to get him to eat his dinner.
Is that when you're putting everything in his food, or even when there's nothing in his food?
He's at the stage now, both. I used to think he was a super picky eater. But then I saw how he ate when he was doing these fecal transplant capsules. Like Buddy is kind of a puzzle. I had several traditional vets just kind of shake their head after 6 years and be like, I don't know. I mean, they're like, I don't know what's going on with this dog. So, I mean, he went to specialists, he's done ultrasounds. They then finally said after 9 years, so the year before last, he might have IBD, and it showed up on an ultrasound. But then after he did all those fecal transplant capsules, his ultrasound was good for his intestine.
Okay.
So yeah, I just
How old is he?
11. He just turned 11, I would guess.
And what's he like? What's
Um,
his personality like?
he's a beagle mix. So he can be a little stubborn at times. He's super sweet. He's a very good dog. He was always just kind of the perfect young dog, perfect puppy. And his energy level has never been wild by any means. He just pretty laid back. He started doing hydrotherapy. I started doing that with him a few months back just for geriatric support, even though he's about 37 pounds. I really want him to get good exercise and help his joints and, arthritis if that is starting. So we've been doing that, and he's becoming a better swimmer. He's the only beagle swimmer this lady has, and she has a lot of dogs. So he's so funny. He's doing much better. The past 2, he did amazing. He was doing laps on his own. Tonight he did not do very well. He just didn't want to do it. He wasn't in it. So that's kind of what really hit me. I'm like, okay, what are we doing again, buddy? What's going on internally? Because I just, I know him after 11 years.
Mm-hmm. So there's just a couple things that I'm thinking about. Like, do you take him for walks and stuff? Does he
Yeah.
go for lots of walks?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Is he because he's a beagle? Is he allowed to go off leash?
Yes.
He is. Oh, good. Okay.
I just have to be careful because he'll eat. This is the other thing. So he'll eat, like, well, we live in a rural area on a farm. So he'll eat, occasional deer poop or cow poop. He's done that his whole life. So I just have to be careful because then he'll get sick.
So when he eats deer poop and cow poop, he gets sick?
He has. Now I would say probably the last couple months, like he's really quick. Like he'll be out sniffing and smelling and I'm watching him. And then all of a sudden here, like he's gotten something. And I'm like, oh, buddy, what was that? Was it a part of a dead animal or was it, stool or what did you eat, buddy? I mean, he's really quick. So, I mean, he has not gotten sick. He has not had diarrhea or vomit in months. That stopped after the animal biome. So after 10 years of dealing with that, it stopped from that after doing those capsules.
Yeah. So I'm thinking just a couple of things. I think that I would actually try our Phytos Flora.
Okay.
And the reason that I'm saying that is because that the same way animal biome gives you canine fecal transplant, the Phytos Flora is very similar, but it doesn't have the intensity of almost like it doesn't have the intensity of a transplant. So in Phytos Flora, we have a probiotic that is 2 species oriented canine strains in it. It was the first probiotic in the world to actually have a canine strain in it made from dog feces. And I think the combination of doing animal biome and this, what might wind up happening is with the fulvic and the humic acid, it helps with the integrity of the gut lining. And then adding the 2 strains of the canine strains, it will give more of a synergistic approach to giving a species bacteria, if that makes sense. Are you following me?
Yes. So are you saying do that along with the fecal transplant capsules or not do those capsules and just do the Phytos Flora?
It's up to you. It's up to you. You can try using Phytos Flora. You could try doing another transplant. And then when you're finished that transplant, then start him on the Phytosflora so that he doesn't wind up slipping, trying to help him not slip back. Do
Right.
you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
That would be one thing. The next thing is, I don't know whether he would eat it, but Phytosynergy,
Okay.
because it's sounding to me like he may have a type of an absorption problem.
Yeah.
And I also feel like when you said IBD, that's the first thing that I was thinking of, like even at the very, very beginning.
Yep.
But because he had it so young, I would wind up, I would give him turkey tail mushrooms.
Okay. He does get that. He does
Okay,
get,
good.
yeah, he's on real mushrooms, turkey tail. He's been on that for a while because he also has nodules on his spleen that we've been
Okay.
here and a
So
half.
this is the next thing I'm going to tell you. I know that we put Andrea Ring's number in there, but your dog is screaming a remedy called carcinosin to me. Like if I was taking your dog's case as a homeopath,
Okay.
there's a homeopathic remedy called carcinosin, and it is for he just sounds like a carcinosin dog. It's the coolest thing. We don't have time to really go into it, but carcinosin dogs want to be good. They're like perfect puppies.
Yep.
But they have part of what makes them, they have sort of an underlying sadness of decreased natural, they want to be in nature.
Yes.
So their inability to go into nature and be living in nature causes them to have some sadness. And that sadness shows up usually as inappetence. They don't want to eat. So
That's very interesting.
and it's so interesting since it's right from the very beginning when you told me that he was feral and you started telling me about it. And I'm like, oh my God, this dog needs carcinosin. And then when you told me it was about his nodulars on his spleen, I would be contacting Andrea and getting him on carcinosin like yesterday. Okay. Because you can put as many gut microbiomes into a gut, and you can focus on his gut. Right. But if he has if he's unbalanced constitutionally for whatever reason, it's never going to hurt. And sometimes it's what it takes is a constitutional homeopathic remedy to energetically get them shifted, so that they can, then their bodies can actually thrive on what you're giving them. Sure. But I would contact Andrea and say that you were talking to me and that you felt like the dog was screaming a remedy called carcinosin. Okay. And once you tell her that Julie said that she thinks that one of the big ones is, you should write this down. Okay. Ailments from suppressed natural inclination. Because we've treated dogs with cancer, we've treated dogs with autoimmune diseases, we've treated a lot of dogs that the happiest they are is when they're out in the woods or they're out in nature, and when they're not, but like especially animals that were and then are put into more stringent social constraints, especially a beagle. Yeah. Yeah. Like beagles, a feral beagle, you're not going to get a dog that probably wants to be out there sniffing and exploring and stuff 24/7. Yeah. Oh, I love beagles. Oh yes, oh my God, I love them so much.
He is just like I said, he's the most perfect dog. I mean, I love all dogs. I mean, I really do. But he, I had him when I was 17. I had him when I was 17. I got him when I was so it's like I was so young. I had no idea what to do with a puppy. And he went with me to college. Like I didn't even go to a 4-year university. I went to community college, then a university, so he could live with me in an apartment. He was a perfect apartment dog, other than appetite stuff. But he's just always, and you're right. I mean, he thrives smelling and being outside. So, on a farm,
He was born outside, right?
I would
Or,
suspect
or,
outside.
I mean, if he was feral, he was out there a lot.
Yeah, I think he probably was. No one in our area, we live in a big valley. And his mom, he and his siblings and his mom had been running for weeks. I had seen these dogs like out in the hills, and I was like, what in the world whose dogs are those? And no one claimed them ever. So I suspect she was probably dumped, maybe pregnant.
Dumped. Yeah.
And the other, he never had puppy shots. I missed them.
Yeah.
And I worked clinic, and I thought I had given them to him.
Yeah.
And didn't get around to it. And so a couple years later, I found out he never had his puppy shots. And they were like, oh, that's horrible because you work with parvo puppies, blah, blah, but he never got anything. I mean, he was.
No.
So.
That's a good thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
So the other suggestion, you said the phytophthora, and if I do the fecal capsule, should I stop everything else for the leaky gut protocol? So the gut soothe.
Yeah, you can. You can just do that, and I would be doing, like I said, turkey tail. And if you can get phytosynergy into him, if he likes it, if he's picky, I don't know if he'll like it.
Well,
it's very fishy, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure he's big on fish. That's what he didn't want last night, was a trout.
Well, you can try him and see. I mean, even if you were to mix it, I mix my phytophthora in my dog's raw milk, and because they've done lots of studies on inflammatory bowel disease with phytosynergy.
Mm-hmm.
So phytosynergy and phytophthora and the remedy carcinosin, I think would be very interesting to see with those three things on board. What'll happen if he'll be, because the goal is to get him to maintain the transplants, right? To get him to maintain the transplants,
right?
And the phytophthora, whatever you're going to do,
right?
Is have them be able to have the friendly bacteria be able to stabilize in his gut and not just just become transient.
Right.
It's just sounding like he doesn't have do you give him fiber? Like, does he get vegetables and stuff? Will he eat them?
Animal Biome's very first recommendation last year was add fiber. So canned pumpkin is what I added. So yeah, he gets quite a bit of canned pumpkin, and he's done well with that. So his stools look so much better, and they have been consistently better now for a while. He used to have the typical IBD is so there's so much with IBD, but he had loose stools pretty often.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because he may need more fiber in order to bring enough. That's why I was talking about turkey tail, but he might need more fiber to make sure that you're getting enough food for the bacteria. Like he might need even more fiber than what you're giving him, so that the bacteria actually has something to eat in the gut, even after you've stopped giving so that they can thrive and stay there and procreate.
Right. Okay. Would he need the healthy gut with all of this, that digestive enzyme, or is this just enough?
It doesn't hurt, but because he's a picky eater, I would really rotate things.
Okay.
I wouldn't sort of have him on one thing. I mean, I'd have him on the phytophthora probably every day for a month, for sure. But the phytosynergy, I would try to get into him, and things like healthy gut, like the digestive enzymes. I mean, it definitely helps him. It would help for him to break it down, but I don't know whether he likes it.
Okay, yeah, it's hard to tell.
Yeah.
Okay, well, this is awesome. I truly appreciate it. It's just, sometimes I feel like I hit these walls with him, and it's just, challenging. So
I really, 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 really would recommend that you call Andrea and you look at that remedy for him.
okay, that sounds good. Yeah, I have a holistic vet, but she's 2 hours away. She does homeopathy. She actually put my other dog who had head tremors on phosphorus.
On phosphorus, yeah.
She met him though, and like described him to a T, just like you did with my buddy. Like she pointed out things that I never thought about. And she's like, this is his remedy. So he's done fantastic. He's an old dog too. I mean, it's so yeah, it's the power of it is amazing. So
yeah. And working with it with all other everything else that you have in your toolbox is it can bring around some pretty amazing results.
yeah. Yes. Well, thank you. I
welcome.
can't thank.
Thanks, Lauren. Okay, Julie, I know it's nearly 10 o'clock where you are. I don't know where it is on the West Coast, East Coast, Central, but I'm calling it for tonight, everyone.
Okay.
Thank you so much for joining us. Happy New Year. And just so everyone knows, we're going to be scheduling AJAs on the first Wednesday of every month. They start at 7 o'clock Eastern, which is 4 o'clock West Coast time. And the recording's always available for everyone. If you can't join us, I know for some of you, it's a tough time to make it out. And our fantastic customer success team. If we didn't get to your question, if you have questions, if you need resources, email us because they're here to help you out. questions@adoredbeast.com. Thanks, everyone. Good night. Thank you, Julie.
Bye.
Bye.